So you've all heard about how VTuber models are super difficult and take a really long time to make, which is why they can cost over hundreds of dollars to thousands. That's like a lot of chicken sandwiches. So I, Reinu, super coolest doggy, am going to challenge myself by making 3 models in 3 hours to show you how easy it is to make a decent VTuber model without spending anything or taking months, because all that money and time should be spent on me. Here are the rules. Rule 1. I can't spend any money on any methods. While I use Clip Studio and Live 2D in this, an alternative like Fire Alpaca or Krita can still be used while Live 2D gives a 42-day free trial. Rule 2. I only have 1 hour for each method aside from Live 2D, which gets an extra 30 minutes. Yes, it is that fast to create a model. Rule 3. I can only use the basics of drawing. That means only a pen, the paint bucket tool, the ruler, and the shapes tool. I'm basically nerfing myself to a person with a small amount of drawing experience, because that's all they need to make a model. Rule 4. I also have 10 minutes to plan a different character before each method.
But why a different character and not yourself?
It's because I'm too perfect. Just kidding. Different characters let you see how every method can deliver a good-looking model, whoever or whatever the character is. Before we start, the ones who want to start VTubing and are looking at this video like,
well, if he can do it in an hour, so can I.
Do not limit yourself to an hour. Take weeks making your model if you have to. Quality takes time. I'm just a dumb dog doing a silly challenge. Now that that's settled, for this first model, I'm going to be doing VTuber Studio, which, I know, there's a certain vibe to these models. Like one look and you can see that it was made in VTuber. But luckily, there's a bunch of tutorials to help fix that. For the planning phase, I really wanted a dragon guy, but here's where I blue screened. I wanted to try some electric things, like robots in sci-fi, but then I thought of Electro Swing, which led me to the black and white cartoons in the past. As for the personality, I've never seen a sad or grumpy looking VTuber. And what people are generally sad and grumpy? Coffee baristas who deal with annoying customers. You can kind of see my thought process. I choose 2 or more ideas and just bounce off of them to find something I like. Now that I have my concept, I'm drawing a base to design his actual look. But first, I need references, so I found cartoon characters from the 1930s. I forgot to write this one as well, but I also looked at Bendy. For the clothes, I looked up what a barista looked like, and during that time, I noted some common pieces like a shirt, tie, aprons, and vest. For the last 5 minutes, I refined the design and added a few more notes for later. With his concept done, it's time to actually start modeling him in VTuber Studio. Beginning with his body, I remembered the tutorial on how to make it look more like 2D, and shaped his body to my liking, and oh my gosh, what did I moved on to the eyes afterwards, which in my opinion, I could have done quicker if I wasn't focused on the details. You'll see this come back to bite me later. Anyways, I drew the irises like the eyes you see in old cartoons. I also tried to make them as smooth as possible, but as you can see, they're very rough. It's not a big deal though, since they won't be seen up close. After doing those, I did the eyebrows. I wanted that look where you can tell a person is just tired of everyone, so I picked a preset and reshaped it to save a bit of time. As for the eyelashes, they got really messed up because of the eye shape, but I went in and smoothened it out, which completed the eyes. For the head, I just went around and messed with the stuff until I was like, yeah, that looks right. To give him more of a cartoony look, I outlined his mouth and simplified the inner mouth. Since he's a sad and grumpy barista too, he's probably tired from his job, so I gave him eye bags. At this point, I checked the time and with 22 minutes remaining, I decided to work on the hair next. They didn't have a preset for slick back hair though, so I had to shape the hair myself. Now here's a little trick. Hair is so versatile in VTuber Studio that you could pretty much shape it into anything you want. So I used that to make his dragon horns. With his hair done, it's time to work on his outfit. Speaking of time, what time is... Oh. So I threw in a bunch of presets, recolored them, and drew an apron in. But after the apron, I remembered he also had a vest, so I decided to skip that since there wasn't enough time to put it on without messing up the apron. With a few remaining minutes, I refined the clothes a bit more and then... I forgot his shoes. Fuck! Looking at him, he actually doesn't give off the Vroid vibe that much. He actually looks okay even if I rush the outfit, and I think the black and white color palette saved me there too. Now for the second model, which is a PNG tuber. I know it doesn't have any of those dynamic movements, but it still delivers the same charm while probably being the easiest to make. I wanted to do something with the color green, because I rarely see green things, so after a minute of looking things up, I decided on lettuce. I'm honestly just picking random things I haven't seen in a VTuber yet, and as I was looking, I saw this lady moth called a Luna moth. As for her outfit, I kind of wanted to make the lettuce leaves into a dress, but I kind of turned the outfit into what an old witch would wear. Anyways, with her design done, I started sketching her actual model, which I wanted to try cuter chibi style, but
this shit is actually trash!
So, after going back to my normal style, I sketched her entire model, which was surprisingly easy, even with a few bumps in the road. While I wanted to draw a happy and sad expression, I knew I probably didn't have enough time, so I settled on the necessary idle and talking poses. After finishing her sketch, I worked on the line art, which was actually faster than normal. But maybe it's because I couldn't worry over it as much because of the challenge. Now, I needed to pick the colors. But the problem is that I suck at choosing colors, so it takes me forever to find something that I like. Along with that, there were gaps in the line art too, so the colors would spill out sometimes. With the last 9 minutes, I start shading and adding details like the veins of lettuce on her outfit. And I forgot her ears. Okay, it's fixed, along with her tiny bald spot. And then I finally added her talking mouth, which wraps her up. I think I like this model a lot. It was a really unique concept, but I think if I had another 30 minutes, it would improve so much. Like, I really wanted the wings to open when talking, but there wasn't enough time for that. And last but not least, it's the Live 2D model. The big one, the most difficult one, the most expensive one in time and money. So this character, I knew I needed to make it kind of simple, since even a single hair strand can take up to 5 minutes to rig, and that doesn't include physics. Off a whim, I made him an emo panda person. I was thinking of making him a little slime or something simple like a cat, but that'd be lame. You all want to see an actual model, so here it is. I also gave him a bit of facial hair too, because why not? And learning from my past mistakes, I actually wrote his color scheme down this time at the last few seconds. While his design is kind of basic, it's also very easy to draw, which I'll need if I want to complete him in time. With the concept finished, I moved on to the first stage of a Live 2D model, which is separation. You separate the parts so they can move later. Think of it like your hand. Your palm and fingers are connected by different joints that let it move around in a wide range. But if it was all one big piece, it wouldn't have that range. Anyways, while I would sketch out the parts if I did this normally, I wouldn't make it in time even with the 30 minutes, so I skipped straight into the line art. If an actual model maker saw this, they'd probably hunt me down. Anyways, with the base of the head done, I worked on the face, or normal mouth. It generally has around 7 parts, but I simplified it to 3 for this, and those is just a simple small line, even in my regular style. And normally, the eyes are insanely detailed, having over 15 parts if it's really advanced. But if I wanted time to rig, I had to complete the art fast, so I combined the iris parts together and only drew in the top lash. Now that the face is done, onto the hair, which I'll draw in one piece. It'll be faster to rig that way, but it wouldn't be as detailed if I were to split it into different strands. After the hair and ears, I started working my way down to his body, and at this point, I noticed I went over the hour mark, so I decided to scrap the bottom half, making him a half model. I made everything symmetrical too, so I don't need to rig one part one way, and then use up more time to rig what's practically the same part but slightly different. So as I'm wrapping up the body, I make sure all of the parts don't have dust, which are small parts and pieces left by mistake. It'll get into the way of rigging if I didn't erase them. Speaking of rigging, it's time for Phase 2, the rigging phase. Which is done, I realized. Shit. So I went back, erased the dust, and now we're actually on Phase 2. It's 10 minutes less than when I wanted to start, but that's fine. I start by setting up and organizing the place before I work on the face. Oh, that rhymed. With the VTuber eyes, they open, close, smile, and look around by default. So I start by opening and closing. which is by using these snake-like things to make the motion easier. As for why I'm not doing the other side, you'll see later, but now that the eye-opening portion is done, I move on to the eyebrow next, which by default has surprised, angry, and neutral. I finally get his eyeball to move around too, so he can stop staring directly at you, which completes the left eye. But what about the right one? I can just flip it since both are symmetrical, and... Okay, I fixed that too. Onto the mouth. There are 9 points you need to complete the mouth, but basically it's just frowning, smiling, and the neutral one. The other 6 points are just opening motions. The nose will be rigged along with the head angles, which is actually the next step. It's just looking left and right, up and down. After going in and fixing the corners, it's time for the face to move with the head angle. Normally, I'd separate all the parts to have more control over how it looks, but I combined the face together to speed up the process. Same thing for the base, I go in and fix the corners, and that leads us to his hair. Since it's only one part, I can just move it around until it looks right. Now he needs to actually tilt his head, which includes the neck. The neck is kind of like one of those tube men at the car dealership. With 13 minutes remaining, I finally did the ears and was kind of getting stressed because I still have to work on the entire body. For me, the head is 60% of the model's rigging, while the body is 30%. So I gave the torso some basic movements and worked on the arm, which were also easy. The problem with arms is that the line art sometimes disconnects from the actual body, so I needed to get close in and connect it back together. Next, it's time to make the body tilt as well, which is a bit difficult since you need to avoid the arms from detaching again. But still, it's easy compared to the head. With the remaining time, I figured I could give him a surprised look, but I was on the verge of reversing that decision, since I need to reset the other eye again. In the end though, I did it with a minute to spare, and this is how he turned out. His model is honestly on par with the first ever model I made, and that one took like 2 weeks. I expected him to come out a little bit weird, which he did. But I'm still happy with the results, even if he doesn't have any physics. So, with only an hour to spend on each, we went from these 3 concepts to these models, and while they're not high quality, they are still able to be used to start VTubing. So should you try this challenge? Absolutely not, this fried my brain. Again, take your time. The VTubing community isn't gonna disappear overnight.